What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the 5280 podcast on the MHRT Network. I'm your host, as always, Mundungus Creevy, alongside Cameron Parker, Glenn Hauser, and Gage Madrid. How's it going, fellas?
We're 1 week closer to the regular season, and we are a few days closer to week 1 of the college football season. So
I can't catch a break.
Yeah, so football is here.
We're here, man. Finally.
Didn't even get through the intro. And just
undrafted free agent just showed up.
They appear out of thin air, man.
Jiminy. If you guys have not already, make sure you head over to the YouTube page for the MHRT Network. Hit like and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure you head over to Broncos Syndicate, which is hosted by Gage Madrid, and give that a like and subscribe as well. We would greatly appreciate it, as well as Gage. So obviously we have a lot to get to today. We have the 53-man roster that was made, but we also have a game that was played on Saturday between the Broncos and the Cardinals. So we'll cover that a little bit as well. But first things first.
Saints maybe, but that's fine.
Saints. So many things.
Cardinals, sorry. Kind of in the same ballpark there.
Sorry. Yeah, they're in the same area. It's fine. In the South.
Well, I'm more talking about Catholic Church.
I'm sorry. One of the things that it kind of affects the Raiders, but kind of goes, would you shut up and go away? Go that way. Go away. Go. I love you, but get out. Jeez. It has.
I'm getting Micah Parenting for Dummies book.
Right?
Hang on.
It has to deal with the Raiders. I don't know if it really affects them much, but Kenny Pickett was traded to the Raiders. I'm assuming he's going in as backup to cover Aiden O'Connell, who I believe got hurt.
Yes.
But that also means that you have Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders on the Browns.
It does. And obviously it's true to form to what the Browns will be doing. Thank you so much, Jeff. Yeah. I mean, it's not surprising when you think about a trade. The funniest thing just involving it is just the fact that it was a trade between two of the most pathetic organizations in the Las Vegas Raiders and the Cleveland Browns. And, and so the fact that they were kind of helping each other out when they really weren't helping each other out is kind of hysterical because the Browns need far more than just a QB trade for that thing to work.
Yeah. Hope everybody's having a good night. You as well, Biggie Bronco. Stress asked, did Bo Nix make the 53-man? No. Nope.
Man.
Jared Stidham, baby!
Oh, I was going to say, so did Emeka Egbuka on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and so did Travion Henderson on the New England Patriots.
There we go. All right, so let's cover the Broncos and Saints, who just had their game on Saturday. Honestly, other than like the first 3 drives, I wasn't really paying that close of attention because we kind of already knew who we thought would make the 53. I will say this, there is some concern out there when you go through Facebook, when you go through Twitter, when you go through YouTube videos, all the things that cover Denver Broncos, there is a concern about the offensive line. And so I kind of wanted to bring that to you guys and get your feelings on the offensive line and if it's going to work or if it's not with the new blocking scheme.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that Strez is in the chat because he was a former running back, and I've been curious about asking him, like, what's the difference, stylistically between an inside zone and an outside zone. And, I mean, the other part of this, too, is, like, when you – in my sky is falling, worried is a hiccup? No. It's just a concern. The one thing I will say as far as strictly regarding the offensive line is we had this same conversation last year with a certain someone of this offensive line, and it turned out just fine, meaning Ben Powers. Ben Powers really struggled in preseason and then, got the act together, in the regular season. And obviously we are talking about a top 5 offensive line unit between run block win rate and pass block win rate. they're fine. I think overall we are still talking about a top 10 unit, but I think some of the concerns are raising its head again, and that's being the center position and that left guard position. I think where it gets to be interesting regarding the outside zone and inside zone is Forsyth does have a little bit more athleticism to his game, and I have to think that he's a bit more accustomed to an outside zone system versus an inside zone system. So that's where it gets to be a little bit interesting down the line, and where it's like maybe we have a far more of a center conversation when it comes to Luke Wattenberg and Alex Forsyth because of that.
Yeah, I would completely agree. Like, I would think that the conversation is probably going to be more shifted towards center than it is left guard. For financial reasons, first of all, Ben Powers is going to be here. You're not going to be able to get out of that contract this year, so he's going to be here. He's going to be starting pretty much regardless, and any possibility of him getting benched midseason, I think, went out the window when Nick Gargiulo got rolled up on in the Cardinals game, unfortunately. I thought that Gargiulo was playing some really good football, but when you look at the tape in the Saints game and in the 49ers game, obviously the Stars didn't play against Arizona, you see some concerns with like Powers getting overwhelmed, bad leverage, bad technique. I'm not a complete expert on offensive line play. This is just what my untrained eyes are seeing here, but it's not up to snuff. And just like Cam pointed out, we had these exact same conversations last year, and I feel like we had them the year before that as well, and things shaked out pretty well. But it is noteworthy because week one, you're going up against Jeffrey Simmons, and your opponents are just going to get harder and harder from there on the interior. You're going to have some less than ideal matchups, but just like Cam pointed out, I think center is really where the conversation is going to be, because if Luke Wattenberg isn't playing well midway through the year, do you make that switch to Forsyth? It's possible. I've said before that if you could mold Alex Forsyth and Luke Wattenberg into one player, you might have something really good there. But Forsyth is the better player in run blocking. Wattenberg is the better player in pass protection. Right now, it seems Denver's prioritizing pass protection, but we'll see what happens moving forward. If we get midway through the year and we're struggling running the football, maybe you have to make that change to get something going in the run game.
So why do you guys think that nationally they are still being talked about as a top 5 offensive line, but within Broncos country, there seems to be quite a bit of concern as to what's happening here?
I think it's just probably a bit of both, if you will, in a sense. Maybe they're afraid to say that a deep football team, which they are deeper this year, has a bit of some issues on its starting line, if you will. But I think the other part of it too is I'm not saying that nationally they don't do their job, but I'm just saying that also with fans, they don't call people fanatics for nothing, or people that spend the amount of time that they do covering the team, specifically the Broncos, like are talking about the idea, that the center position, guard position, or positions that maybe aren't focused a little bit more, are far more focused when it comes to when you're covering a team than nationally. So I think that's probably has something to it. But still, I don't think it changes the idea for how good this line is. And we'll obviously talk about the 53-man roster, but I think their offensive line depth is way better than it had been in year past, and that goes even with or without the Gargiulo injury.
And they kept 9 players, and they had some tough decisions even beyond that for the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I want to take that a little bit farther. We talked offensive line, but offense in general, it seems like every year, and even this preseason, the offense gets off to a slow start. Was that because of holding back on the playbook, and we're not going to see that at the beginning of the season, or are we still having a little bit of concern as to the offense getting a slow start?
Yes. I think there's a little bit of elements of both there. Like, there has been a trend in the Sean Payton era of the offense getting off to a slow start, but for both seasons in previous years, I think you can explain it away pretty well. in 2023, you were installing a new offense and you had a quarterback limiting things. Then last year, you had a rookie quarterback you were trying to develop and basically install that offense into him. So those are the reasons why I feel like we got off to slow starts last year. And going into this season, it's going to be really important to obviously keep the pedal on the gas early because you're going to have that really tough stretch entering that Philadelphia game. You got the Chargers you've got to deal with. You've got those really tough opponents on your schedule, and you might not be able to afford dropping a game early in the season. We think about the Cincinnati Bengals, for example. They dropped that game to the New England Patriots early, and that cost them a trip to the playoffs ultimately. So Denver's got to be able to prioritize getting off to fast starts. The question is, were those slow starts just products of trying to rebuild the team? That's the question.
Yeah, and to that point, I think there's at least an angle here that I think actually, whether it was intentional or not, I think is actually going to help the team. And when Gage was going through year by year, how different it had been year by year. Well, going into this year, they have that quarterback in place. Well, what is the one constant that we saw with the starting offensive unit? They were seeing looks that you typically see in the regular season. So I would venture to say, like hypothetically, that would actually better suit them for getting ready into going into the regular season because of the multiple safety blitz looks or the cornerback blitz looks or the multiple different coverage looks or whatever that they were seeing. And I would also say too that the fact we were able to see some chemistry with the starting offense of not just Cortland Sutton but everybody. But I think to round it out is the fact that the Broncos were able to hit it off between Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton at the tail end of the preseason game number 3. That was such an important chemistry that needed to be fixed, heading into week 1, because we talk about people in slow starts. You don't need to look no further than number 14. We have been harping on Cortland Sutton for him to be starting fast, specifically him. And, he badly needs, this type of season, not just the offense, but he needs to start off fast. And so to see that kind of game where obviously, that's entirely where Bo Nix was featuring was Sutton at times, kudos to Bo Nix and Sutton for really figuring something out at that tail end of the last game, because that's going to pay dividends, obviously down the line.
But I also think that preseason is a time when a team tries different things really to showcase some of the situations, the players, the talent, to kind of gauge whether how someone operates in a certain way. I feel like some of the decisions that get made by the coaching staff during preseason games are not ones that would even be considered during the regular season. So I'm not too concerned at all.
Yeah.
I believe, didn't we end up with the number 1 offense and the number 1 defense in the preseason and all the NFL? So it's like
top 3 across the board.
Like, are we just so used to being concerned and miserable like that now? Like even when things are going well, we're worried about stuff. I think we're going to be just fine.
I think my job as an analyst, you're always going to find something to nitpick about.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of like the head coach. You're never going to be happy.
Right. Well, and and if we're looking at the team, like there are aspects of this where you're going to be looking at it completely different. And I think a lot of that actually is the running game. Like, I don't know if we're actually going to physically be seeing RJ Harvey be the lead guy, in the handful of games. It was really nice to see, but I think that was strategic in playing, Pat Bryant more or playing RJ Harvey more so that they can get up to speed, to the NFL and everything. But I think that, you are going to see a bit of things different as far as, J.K. Dobbins and RJ Harvey. That specifically, I think, is going to be very evident with how things are going to be shaking out. And obviously, we didn't get a chance to touch on the other side of some possible changing, and that is the Devon Vele trade. We were kind of asking ourselves, like, who is the Trinity Benson of this situation? Who is the Alberto Cuebanom of the situation? Well, as it kind of unfolded going into that Saints game, the Broncos made a deal with the Saints and trading off Devon Vele, and actually getting 2 draft picks out of it. One, of course, with the 2026 4th-round pick, which could end up being a high-round 4th-round pick, and then a 7th-round pick, I believe, in 2027. So, I think that also goes to show you with where things are. There may be changing of the guard, but I think it goes to show you where things are a little bit in that offense.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just fundamentally sound business to recoup a 4th-round pick for a former 7th-rounder. He contributed 400 yards and 3 touchdowns in his rookie season, and I don't think he was going to contribute that same level, to Cam's point, because of the depth and how much things have changed on that unit. So ultimately, Denver made the wise move. They basically recouped the 7th-round pick they spent on him, and then they got the 4th-round pick as well. That's like a George Payton masterclass, and I think Vele is going to do well in New Orleans. I think that this trade's going to mutually benefit both parties, but I don't think Denver was going to make that move unless they got blown away, and I feel like this would qualify as getting blown away.
Yeah. All right, so obviously we talked Devon Vele, but there's more roster decisions that were made today as well as yesterday. So why don't we go into the who made the 53, who got cut, and who were surprised by who got cut. Gage, do you have that thing that we can share?
I DM'd it to you on MHRT.
Oh, crap.
I DM'd both documents to you.
Oh, crap. All right, well, we got to fill some time so I can go find it.
I tried to tell you beforehand, but you started the show.
I'm sorry.
No, that's because he was trying to catch me. He was trying to catch
Glenn. All right, what can we talk about while I'm getting this filled up here?
There's also a fancy schmancy picture too that the team shared for their 50.
Oh yes, the team did share the graphic. So
I texted it to the group.
I'd pull up that honestly.
Well, I can't do all. I'm trying to. Never mind.
Here, hold on. I can do it.
Which one do we want to do?
Slow.
So where do we want to do first, the 53 or the cuts?
53.
Okay.
I feel like, right?
I would start with that. Yeah.
Here, hold on. I've got something.
So where were you guys when you found out about Taylor Swift getting engaged?
Oh, God.
I was working.
I was working as well. I was making videos and doing stuff.
I will say it is very. Kudos to them. On the engagement, it just seems very crazy to me. It's nasty work for them to be announcing their engagement on NFL's most busiest time of the year, of it being NFL cut day. I will say though, congrats to the Chiefs for finally winning a ring.
There we go. Got it.
Instead of getting a wing.
Cam, that joke would have been great about 4 years ago.
No, I was gonna say based on the fact of the Eagles, they got their ring. So at least someone got a ring this year.
All right, I got you.
Nope. There we go.
That works.
All right. That works. Oh, I'm talking now? Okay. All
right. I guess I can go if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we'll start off with quarterbacks. They're keeping 2. Sam Ehlinger had those splashy plays in the preseason, definitely showed some really nice stuff out there. There just wasn't going to be a spot for him on the 53. He is a vested veteran, so he doesn't have to pass through waivers. The Broncos can bring him back right away to the practice squad. According to Chris Thomason, who reported yesterday, there might be some other opportunities for Sam Ehlinger out there for maybe a 53-man roster spot. So if he takes that, I wouldn't be surprised. Otherwise, he'll probably be back on the practice squad. Running backs, we've got 4 guys here: J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Tyler Bidet. Not much of a surprise there, I feel like. It's been trending that way for some time. And then once we finish with the offense, we'll go through and kind of go through our notes and stuff like that, and then we'll do the same with the defense. Tight ends, we've got Evan Ingram, Adam Troutman, Lucas Kroll, and Nate Atkins. There was some concern potentially about Atkins having to go on short-term IR, but the other day Sean Payton said that was not going to be the case. He'll be ahead of the 4 weeks that he would have missed on the short-term IR, so that'll be good. With Nate Atkins being back, you've got Mike Burton, who's out for the season now with a hamstring injury, so Nate Atkins will fill that fullback role. We'll talk about that role a little bit more later in the show as well, because Adam Prentice is going to come into play there. But you've also got Lucas Kroll, who's going to be your quasi-tight end 3 until Nate Atkins gets back. Wide receivers, they kept 5. The only surprise that I feel like there is Courtney Jackson not making it, but not really a true surprise in the sense. It's just like, okay, Courtney Jackson, I'm kind of bummed he didn't make it, but I thought he had a shot. Offensive line, we've got 9. If you want to scroll down, Mike, you've got your 5 starters, obviously: Alex Palczewski, Matt Parrott, Alex Forsythe, and then Frank Crum as depth. And one note on Crum before we break down the offense here. Sean Payton said that there were 3 teams that called that wanted to trade for Crum, and he turned them all down. So I feel like the Broncos have a long-term vision for Frank Crum, and we should probably have him put on Sharpie long-term for this roster. So let's go ahead and break down the offense, like what our notes are there, anything that shocks us, all that.
Yeah, I have a question, though. If we don't get that Devon Vele trade, do they keep 6 wide receivers with Sherfield and Vele on there?
So I don't think so. Like when I was listening to Sean talk, or maybe they do, but you also have to factor what Sean talked about last week regarding the Vele trade. It seemed like Sean was feeling really confident about the room, so much so that there would have been conversations about possibly Vele being inactive on days. So I don't think it would have changed as far as 5 wide receivers. And I will say this: I see the Raider comment in there about surprised with Bonex that you didn't keep 6. They technically did keep 6 because Evan Ingram is a wide receiver at tight end. And he's definitely shown to be a little bit more of a better blocker, at least according to this preseason, than people may have actually given him credit for. But they got 5, and I think that they actually got the 5 right.
That's better.
Okay. I can't even see it.
It looks cooler than my crappy document.
It's better looking.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Gage, thanks for pulling out the Commodore 64 to put that together for us. Appreciate it.
The Commodore 64, a.k.a. Google Docs.
Sponsored by AOL.
My uncle actually had a Commodore 64 growing up.
All right, anything else offensive-wise that's shocking?
Shocking, I feel like, is a relative term, but I will say that I was on the offensive line front. They don't really have a pure guard that they kept, and I think that that's somewhat surprising, and that actually falls in line because I think probably Gage and myself expected and us expected Throckmorton to be on the 53-man roster. There's still a very good chance. It seems like he'll be on the practice squad. And it's probably also a good thing to remind everybody that the 53-man roster that we see now will be completely different possibly on week 1. So Calvin Throckmorton might still be on that offensive line when week 1 rolls around. But I would say probably of that entire offensive side, Throckmorton maybe not being there just because it seems like they've got more swing tackle depth of Parrott and Crum and Palczewski, and not exactly, the guard related depth.
Well, additionally, you have to remember that you can elevate guys from the practice squad on game day. So if they feel like they needed some depth at guard on a particular day, they could elevate Throckmorton. He's a vested veteran. He doesn't have to pass through waivers. And spoiler alert, he's on my practice squad prediction. So, yeah.
All right. Defense it is.
All right, defense. Here we go. Defensive line. This was kind of a surprise. They ended up keeping 7 defensive linemen. I was thinking they were going to make a choice between Ioma Uwazurike and Jordan Jackson, one of them making the roster. They kept both. And it feels like they weren't going to be able to pass either one of them through waivers. So that's what led into that decision. So that's probably the big surprise there, is that they kept 7 defensive linemen. If you want to go ahead and scroll down, Mike.
Whoa, too far. There we go.
Edge rushers. We've got 5, no surprises there. Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper, Jonah Ellis, Dondre Tillman, Q Robinson. Linebackers, this is where things get a little surprising, and we do have our undrafted free agent making it here in Corinne Reed out of Utah. Super duper excited for him, man. The fact that we've been able to scoop up at least one undrafted free agent making the team for 21 out of the last 22 years, that's really, really cool. The one thing that surprised me was, and we talked about it earlier, Lavelle Bailey ending up not making the team, but it sounds like Reed brings more special teams value, and they think they can pass Bailey through waivers. So if they can, he'll be on the practice squad. He'll stick around. I'm a little worried about maybe Darren Muji and the Jets. We'll see what happens there, or one of the other assistants that left. That's always a possibility. Sean Payton talked about that. But outside of that, no real surprise with the linebackers. Cornerbacks, 5. Again, no real surprises there. Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, Jade Barron, Jaquan McMillan, and Chris Abrams-Drain. Finally, with safeties, they did sign Sam Franklin as a free agent. They signed him to be a special teams player, and according to Pat Chiotti, he has a really good eye for special teams. I believe he's a special teams coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said that Franklin wasn't very good in that role. So I'm going to believe him there. I trust what Pat Chiotti says, and that probably plays into why he didn't make the active roster despite signing a 2-year deal in free agency. So you've got Jones, Hufanga, PJ Locke, Devon Key, who's a solid backup safety, and then JL Skinner, who brings good special teams value. You've got your 3 special teams guys, obviously, Will Lutz, Jeremy Crawshaw, and Mitchell Fraboni. And one note on Crawshaw, or a couple notes on Crawshaw, actually. Sean Payton said that they are not going to bring in competition. He is their punter moving forward. Additionally, this offseason, he had the International Pathway Player exemption, so he didn't count towards the 90-man roster. He counts now towards the 53 because he's on it. He doesn't have that tag anymore. And then finally, we'll touch on IR, guys, and then we'll go over and brush through things again like we did with offense. Matt Henningsen and Nick Gargiulo, they're obviously done for the season. They were done earlier. Then Mike Burton, we got the news about him having hamstring surgery. He's out for the season. Drew Sanders went to short-term IR. He's going to miss the first 4 weeks, and so that's what we have for the roster breakdown outside of practice squad.
Are they keeping Drew Sanders inside, or is he outside?
They're keeping him inside.
So any additional surprises, anything noteworthy here?
I don't think just Lavelle Bailey. Like, I think we all expected Lavelle Bailey to make it. Like, I love Corinne Reed, but I didn't think he was going to make it over Lavelle Bailey.
I got to say, looking at our cornerbacks, I mean, is there a better group in the NFL than those 5 right there collectively? I don't believe so. That is a strong group. Oh,
I mean, it's such a deep room that there are conversations of him keeping 6, or I think if you're looking at like the safety position, probably you wish, depending on who you talk to, right? Depending on which Bronco fan you talk to. They were maybe confused why Devon Key was on the roster and not like a Sam Franklin or or maybe someone else. But I think that overall, every time you would watch a preseason game or you were seeing something in practice, I'm sure Gage notices too, the second unit was always lock and key. So it's a good law firm of Lock and Key there.
Yeah, I like that.
But so it's when you're starting to kind of see that regularly, it seems like that's kind of trending in that direction of that they really like Devon Key, possibly as far as his depth too with PJ Locke. But no,
speaking of PJ Locke, Cam, congratulations to him. What he went through the last season and this offseason to come back. I mean, literally setting a precedent for any other player that's ever played the game. So happy for him. I mean, I wish him continued success, and I hope this is a great year health-wise for him too.
I don't know what it is. I was telling the guys in the green room, my wife made something. I don't know what it is.
But it's
got
delicious.
cheese in it. It's got chicken in it. It's got biscuits in it. I don't know what else is in it, but it's good.
It's got cyanide in it.
That wouldn't shock me at all.
It sounds like kind of a hybrid between a chicken pot pie and chicken and dumplings. Sounds good.
You know what? That's pretty apt description right there. I do like Lock and Key as the defensive nickname now.
Yeah,
we should use that permanently now.
For the
Lock and Key, baby.
For the backups at least, yeah. Yeah, no, it's just there's really not a whole lot surprising, and I do actually would say I would probably agree with Big Mike in the comments that Throckmorton is probably a literal bit more surprising than Bailey there. But I mean Bailey was still surprising because we all expected. I think probably a fair amount of us thought that he was going to be starting at some point, midway through the season. I will say this though. Kudos to Corinne Reed. I think we all didn't expect him to play as well as we did. We certainly had expectations for him as an undrafted free agent. So kudos to him. He has special teams value, which obviously Gage mentioned. I do wonder. I just have to say, because it's the other elephant in the room, and we touched on in IR. I do wonder what this team feels confidently about Drew Sanders. Obviously, he's going to be put on short-term IR, and the team really needs to see what they have in him. And it seems like the team really, 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 really loves Drew Sanders, and that they want him at inside linebacker. So are they trying to say to us without saying to us that the Drew Sanders idea of him playing inside is still very much alive than people give him credit for? That is something I'm filing away right now, in a sense, because it was short-term IR and they do want to play him inside, and that is a position of major depth.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like if they weren't going to keep him, they would have already waived him with an injury designation. They would have moved on. So the fact that he's going on IR is actually good news for him, because I think the team still has a vision for him long term. I didn't necessarily expect that, but hey, man, more power to him, because clearly there's something the team really, really likes with him. They spent a third-round draft pick on him. They've stuck with him despite all of the injuries. So hopefully the injury bug doesn't bite him again and he can stay healthy and showcase why they spent a draft pick on him. So, yeah, definitely with that. And should we maybe brush over the cuts real quick?
Yeah.
Like with Drew Sanders, I'm having like Greg Dulcich PTSD vibes with, there's just so much promise and you have so much expectations and hope that things are going to, this guy is going to be a major producer, and the injuries just continue to get in the way. But we'll see what happens. So who goes when he comes back? What do you think?
It's tough, man. Maybe somebody outside the position.
Yeah.
It
defensive line, right?
I was going to say, because it may or may not be Corinne Reed, because Corinne Reed has special teams value, right? So it may not be someone in that position.
Sternad also has special teams value, so it's tough, man. It really is.
Frankly, I know we talked about Devon Key, but it could be a situation where, it's Devon Key or something like that, or a position that was very easy for them to possibly maybe get rid of.
Yeah, for sure. So with cuts, we had some that came down yesterday. We had some that came down today. Yesterday, Joaquin Davis, Andrew Farmer, the edge rusher, Micah Abraham, the corner, Joshua Pickett, corner, got waived with an injury designation. You've got Clay Webb, Michael Dwumfor, Xavier Truss, tackle, I really like him. Garrett Nelson, edge rusher. Jerwan Newton, wide receiver. Audric Estime's gone. We should probably maybe go a little more in depth, I feel like, with that. So,
Now, I wouldn't say it's surprising. Just a crowded room. I think that the running back kind of just became. We had our favorite flavor of what we wanted it to be, but it never included Audric Estime. And because it would always include, Blake Watson, it would always include Tyler Bidet, would include R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, but it would never include possibly even a Jaleel McLaughlin as well. But I think even though he was not there for preseason number 3, due to the birth in his family, the birth of his child, it's still notable that he didn't play in the game, and that should have told us enough that he's on the 53-man roster, meaning Jaleel. So I think it just became who's that fourth back, and Tyler Bidet. What more can you say about the guy? I mean, the guy has been desperately needing the 53-man roster in his life, and he finally got it, and he might actually end up being their kick returner. So I would not be surprised there. But Audric Estime, due to that, he fell out of favor. He, things really started to slow down for him in a bad way, much like his 40 time. I mean, like, it was really bad. Like, it was really bad in Denver, and I know what fans are going to say here, in the sense of him possibly being a practice squad candidate. I think it's best that they move on. Both parties move on. I get the age arguments for him possibly wanting to be here. I also would not rule out of just Blake Watson being on the practice squad, but someone else being on the practice squad as well.
Yeah, and Raider Shield said, weren't you guys kind of high on Estime? At the beginning of the offseason, I was. I thought that Audric Estime was going to be the focus. I thought that they were going to try to make him the lead back. I thought the same thing last season too. It never worked out. I don't know if it was a attitude thing, like some people are saying, or you just couldn't live up to the expectation. I don't know what it was, but he did not have a good offseason. They gave him every opportunity in the preseason. He just did not pass the test.
And frankly, there's one person, and that's the four of us, who was pretty low on Audric Estime, and that'd be the bald guy on the bottom, Glenn. I mean, like he was like, Glenn, you kind of had an idea, like, at the very beginning.
Yeah. Completely uninspiring. The fact that, I mean, when he was inactive in our first playoff game in almost a decade, that told me everything I needed to hear, regardless of what the chatter was afterwards, that we have plans for him. And I just don't think he, and then the moping during training camp. And I guess he did pick it up towards the end. But for me, it's like, that's, grow up, dude. Like, you're competing. You have this golden opportunity. But he was beaten out. It wasn't that his attitude got him or the fumbles. It was just the talent was better elsewhere. I do need to ask Big Mike where he lives. It looks like he's in Massachusetts because he made the Karen Reed joke. But
I thought you were talking to me. I was like, I'm Big Mike now.
Big Mike.
You know where I live? What are you talking about?
No. I'm in New Hampshire, Mike. That's why I asked.
Yeah, so really unfortunate set of circumstances there with Audric Estime. Had the potential, just never put it together. Kind of the same thing with the next guy on this list, Damari Mathis. Had potential as a fourth-round rookie in 2022. Looked good as a rookie. Yep, Mike is indeed in Massachusetts. So there you go, Glenn.
There you go. Neighbors.
Nice. Yeah. So, yeah, he did indeed look good as a rookie, but fell off a cliff after that. Feels like he lost his confidence. I thought that he made some nice plays in training camp, but got burned a couple of times in the preseason. Reporting came out from Benjamin Albright that they'd been trying to trade him for the last couple of weeks and couldn't get anything done. I do think that he's going to benefit from a change of scenery. I tentatively have him back on the practice squad just because I don't know if he's going to pass through waivers. I don't know if there's going to be many other opportunities out there for him. But I like him more than I think the average fan here in Denver does, and I'd like to see him back. That's just me. And then Blake Watson, we want to touch on him real quick because he suffered a PCL strain in that game against New Orleans, apparently. That was per, I think, Jeremy Fowler or something like that. And so the Broncos waived him with an injury settlement. What that means is after he's healthy and then 3 weeks added on to that, they can bring him back either on practice squad or the 53. Most likely it would be practice squad.
Yeah.
So the question is, does Denver ride it out for however long it's going to take without a practice squad back and just the 4 guys they have on the 53 for scout team and all that stuff? Do they ride that out, or do they bring in a practice squad back, be it Audric Estime or somebody else? I don't know. So that's kind of a note there with Blake Watson. Kyrie's Rowan, Marcus Cox, and then I just put Devon Bailey there so I didn't lose track of roster stuff. He was obviously traded a few days ago. Garrett Wallow started off today's cuts, then Reese Taylor, the mysterious A.T. Perry that it feels like we never got to truly see in action outside of that preseason game the other day. We've talked, or Jaden Robinson. We talked about Lavelle Bailey and Courtney Jackson. Calvin Throckmorton, we talked about him too, released, probably will be back on the practice squad. Vested vet, doesn't have to pass through waivers. Same thing with Sam Franklin. Quentin Newsom, Cam, your boy out of Nebraska. Rest in peace, Quentin Newsom.
He was burnt toast.
Say again?
He was burnt toast. That's all I'll say.
Yep, rip. Oh, thank you so much, Marky. Really appreciate you,
Thanks,
man.
Marky.
Love the stuff you do, man. Go check out his show that he does with David. I believe it's Horsepower Hour. Go check their show. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, go to MHRT Network and like and subscribe.
Gotta get the plugs in, man.
Gotta get the plug. And I would like to point out that any defensive player that Denver has released in the last couple of days would upgrade the Bengals defense no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty true.
So, Bengals, there you go. You got a list.
Let's see, where were we here? Michael Bandy. He's obviously been a practice squad receiver here the last couple of years. We'll see if they bring him back again. I think it's definitely possible, but we'll see. Delarian Turner-Yale tore his ACL at the back end of 2023, missed all of last season. I thought bounced back pretty well, but not really a spot for him. It's just kind of a numbers game. Joe Michalski, the undrafted center out of Oklahoma State. Will Sherman, the Colorado Buff, who stuck around for a while. You've got Jordan Turner, another undrafted linebacker who really showed some nice stuff out there, made some splash plays, but Reed was more consistent on special teams, just more consistent overall. That's why they went with him. Keedron Smith, safety, who was on the practice squad last year. You've got Caden Priestcorn, who literally fumbled away his opportunity there at the goal line, unfortunately. That sucked, man. I feel like Priestcorn was going to have a chance to make it there before that play happened. Jordan Miller, big nose tackle. I like him. Hope we can get him back. Adam Prentice was released, and I said we'd talk about the fullback a little bit more. So, obviously, we've got Mike Burton out for the season, and we've got Nate Adkins out for probably the first 2 or 3 games. So, they're going to elevate Adam Prentice from the practice squad. Sean Payton basically led on to the fact that he's going to be on the practice squad, and we'll see what unfolds there in due time. So he's going to be on the squad. They'll elevate him until Nate Adkins gets healthy, and then he'll serve as the tight end hybrid fullback. Adam Prentice, obviously in his second tour of duty with the Denver Broncos, vested veteran, doesn't have to pass through waivers. You've got Christian Williams. He was waived with an injury settlement, so he's not going to be back, unfortunately. Caleb Lohner, I feel like some people might be surprised with that. Maybe we want to touch a little bit more on the Caleb Lohner situation.
I mean, I don't think there was a lot of expectations because of where he was drafted and the lack of time he's had on the football field, like whether it be in college or NFL. I would have liked to have seen him be used more in the red zone just because he's 6'7". Like, he's a big guy. He would have been one of those guys you could throw the ball to. He could jump up and go get it. But I completely understand why he got cut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think it's also easy to say that he's probably practice squad bound due to the fact that he has so limited action right? And possibly him, playing as
Speaking for
little
the married folks. Woo!
and playing as little as he did, if you will, at times in preseason. It was pretty obvious he's raw, right? Like it's pretty obvious that he's raw. Like I will see, or I will say that like it's going to be interesting with some of the moves at tight end. It's just maybe a large takeaway with some of the moves at tight end from the league. I am curious to see what Denver is going to do, because it seems like Sean in his comments is watching that tight end waiver wire. So I think Lawner will be on the practice squad. That's just like the way I'm thinking. But like, I do wonder if they're eyeballing it to a sense where, Cecil Lammy, if you're watching the show, we apologize. We realize, you're a big Lucas Kroll fan, but it doesn't seem like that agenda is going to be out there for long. Because it seems like him possibly being tight end 3 is bad news anyway. And specific with the preseason that he had. But Jelani Woods would come to mind specifically that I would be wanting to target. And I know Big Mike is in the house, so the answer is no. We are not going to be bringing Greg Dulcich back.
All right. No. I wanted to pull this one up. We did kind of talk about it a little bit earlier. Marquee Sports Denver. Broncos need to make a claim for a legit interior offensive lineman. Ben Powers is a big liability. Any thoughts? And Gage, I think you covered it pretty well. I do think that the change to a new blocking scheme is going to take some time, but once that's figured out, I think the offensive line will go back to being a top 5 offensive line like it was last year. I think it's just going to take some time. Yeah. Plus, we're paying him a lot of money. But when you have Walmart money, who cares?
Yes.
Pay him what you want.
And as far as tight ends that could be claimed, the Texans waived their 7th-round tight end, Luke Lachey. I liked him quite a bit coming out. I got to interview him and scout him at the Shrine Bowl, made some really nice catches in the 2 practices that I was at. Jelani Woods would be another one. He was one of my old draft crushes. I made a video about him on my old Broncos channel well before I started doing Broncos Syndicate. So that's an old one for me that kind of strikes at the heart a little bit. I'd love to see Woods here. So those are definitely some names. And then finally on the cut list, Sam Ehlinger. We'll see if he wants to come back. Doesn't have to pass through waivers, but we'll see if he wants to come back or if he finds another opportunity elsewhere. So that's it for the cuts.
Yeah. Boop. Did we want to go back and do practice squad prediction?
Yeah, sure. And this is my best guess at it, and it's not going to look anything close to this, most likely in reality, because some of these guys aren't going to pass through waivers. It's on the other document.
I know. I just realized that. Hold on.
Yeah, some of these guys aren't going to pass through waivers, and the Broncos might want to claim some of the guys who pass through the waivers and that are from other teams. So, again, it's going to look very different, but I just kind of threw some names out there on guys that I wanted. And the only reason that W is there is because that was one of my StreamYard commands.
Winners!
I was trying to change my screen there. Anyway, so I have Sam Ehlinger or some other quarterback, depending on how that situation shakes out. Audric Estime or some other running back, again, depending on how the waiver wire shakes out and who passes through. You've got Adam Prentice. It's pretty much a lock at this point that he's going to be there. Joaquin Davis and Courtney Jackson are the 2 wide receivers that I would like back the most. Realistically, I don't know if you're going to get Courtney back. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you can get him. Caleb Lohner and Caden Priestcourt, I think you'll get both of them back. Xavier Truss and Clay Webb. And then you've got Calvin Throckmorton as the vested veteran. So you've got some pretty healthy depth there on the offensive line on the practice squad. And that fills out the scout team pretty well, I would say. Oh, boy. Here we go.
There we go.
Oh, man. Dude,
I am not opposed to that at all.
I wouldn't hate that either, to be honest.
There's Sam Hartman out there, so go get him.
No.
Shut your face.
Dude, Sam Hartman has got to be one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
Sorry, not sorry.
He's certainly the worst looking on the field.
Hey.
Hey, I said nothing about him off the field.
Listen,
Oh my
a
god!
wife and 6 kids, but man crush.
How much
If the
does-
general public knew how much Mike referenced Sam Hartman on a regular basis in our group chat,
If
they'd
we
be like,
looked up
absolutely
how many
shocked.
times he's said the word Sam Hartman in our group chat, it's
Everybody else is
crazy.
pulling up pictures of Megan Fox. I'm sitting here looking at Sam Hartman. Woo!
every Wednesday at 8:00 in the morning, he texts our group chat, Sam Hartman,
Something. Doesn't matter what it is, just anything.
Yep, just some random picture of Sam Hartman.
yeah.
More often than not,
Flowing
shirtless.
I think I'm gonna start doing that. No, I save those for me.
Okay, where were we?
I don't even know.
So the 3 offensive linemen, Truss, Webb, Throckmorton, I think that's a nice little combination there. Nose tackle, I really like Jordan Miller. I hope we can bring him back. Jake Fromm, I think he's actually working for State Farm now.
Okay, does that mean like bring him in as a quarterback or that he's sexy as hell? Like which one are we talking about? I'm confused.
I mean,
now.
they're both valid conversations. Oh, we're gone. We're off the rails.
None.
How did Frank Crum survive? Let me tell you what, the team is a lot higher on Frank Crum than I think the general fan base is, and I think some in media are, including myself. Sean Payton said they turned down 3 trade offers for him. That means they've got a long-term vision for him. He's got the tools, man. He's got freakish size and freakish athleticism. He's just got to put it all together. He was super raw last year. He was like Caleb Lohner levels of raw. This year, he definitely looks a little more polished, but still has a long ways to go, man. He's a ball of clay that's going to take about 2 or 3 years to mold, but I think the Broncos have a long-term vision with Frank Crum. So Jordan Miller, nose tackle, I like him. I think they'll bring him back.
Wow.
Mike Kliss indicated that they really, really like Garrett Nelson, the edge rusher. So I think they'll bring him back. They think he's a really good special teams player. Hopefully they can get Lavelle Bailey to pass through waivers. That one is far from a guarantee. If he does, I hope that he comes back. Jordan Turner, kind of the same thing. Realistically, if one of these 2 passes through, I will be happy. Then we talked about Damari Mathis. Some would strongly disagree with this one, and I think Damari might want to change of scenery, but if he passes through and he doesn't find any other opportunities, come back to Denver, be a depth piece for us. I like you enough. Bring him back. And then finally, Sam Franklin, vested veteran, doesn't have to pass through. They'll bring him back and elevate him if they need him for special teams purposes.
Do we have any idea what those trade offers were for
No.
Crum?
No, Sean didn't specify.
Yeah.
I mean, it might come out at some point from like Albright or something, but
All right.
Sean didn't want to talk about that.
I will say for Damari that, he at least has his rap career to go off of, so if it doesn't all work out, he has his rap career, and
Who's the Jizzler?
Clay
it's Clay
Webb.
Webb. It's Clay
Okay,
Webb.
I was so confused. Like, which one of us is the Jizzler?
Well, you're the one with the 6 kids.
But no, I
Okay,
think
I'll
that,
go with that. That's
I
fine.
think I think for me the math and stuff is the exact same thing for Estime. It's just best for them to just move on. Mathis is a very unfortunate situation. It was very much like the Michael Ojemudia arc, right? Like it was very much like the Michael Ojemudia arc where he started out hot his rookie year and then crashed and burned after that. And then so much so he pursued a rap career. And we all know what happens when you pursue a rap career in the NFL. So I mean, like what is it? Darren Waller has had a rap career. Anthony Richardson now has a rap career. We know what that means.
AB?
Yeah, AB. He might
Well,
be
the
the
word on the street was that Jade Barron actually is an incredible rapper, and that was his rookie talent show talent. So much so that he left the room, changed clothes, came back and did a second song.
That's hilarious.
I like that.
Yep.
David Talks Broncos. Can someone please explain to me what in the Sam Hartman this team sees in Devon Key?
Oh, it's very easy to figure out. So next year, the Broncos need a wide receiver 1, possibly, or even a wide receiver 2. So there is a there is a wide receiver that is actually coming into this 2026 draft who happens to be the brother of Devon Key. So in order for it to happen, Devon Key has to stay on the Broncos roster, and therefore Dane Key in 2026 is going to end up being the Broncos wide receiver 2. So it's really simple, when you kind of, see the whole pathways of how it's all going to work out.
4D chess. There we go.
Yep, that's what it is, man.
All right. So that covers all the roster cuts. That covers potentially what the 53-man roster is. We've got 1.5 more weeks until we get some Broncos football, opening up against the Tennessee Titans. I think we covered everything. Is there something I missed? I don't think so.
I think we got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Great job, Gage, by the way, on putting that together and walking us through.
Thank you.
I didn't even have to ask for it. He already had it. So that was fantastic. But yeah, we'll cover season predictions and opening game predictions next week on the next show. Who plays next Thursday?
It is the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's an easy Eagles win.
And then the following day on Friday, for free on YouTube, it's going to stream. We've got some AFC West football, the Chiefs and the Chargers in Brazil. So if anybody wants to hate watch that one, there's your opportunity to do it for free.
Kick him out.
What's the over-under on Taylor Swift being on screen?
Oh, I mean, is she even going to be there?
They're engaged now. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, they're going all the way to Brazil, but in all seriousness, yes, congratulations to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Watching that podcast, man, was actually really cool to kind of see Taylor Swift open up a little bit like that and show the more human side of like this cult-like celebrity figure, It's like, even though they're big, rich celebrities, they're still human beings just like you and me, man. So that was kind of cool to see that, and I thought that was really fun, and congratulations to them.
Rodney wants to know who we got winning Friday's game.
The Chiefs and Chargers?
Yeah.
Better be the Chargers.
Yeah, I actually think the Chargers are going to pull this one off, man. Jim Harbaugh, early in the season, he's going to have those boys fired up. I think they're going to smell some blood in the water in that game.
Even with Slater being out?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I still think they're going to play a tough physical brand of football, and I think that Harbaugh isn't going to get swept by the Chiefs.
Does Prentice smoke root beer vape? It is a requirement of our fullbacks now. All right.
Dude, I mean, vaping in general is like, no, thank you. And I'm saying that is one of the biggest stoners on the planet. And then you've got these flavored vapes that are just like, what are you doing? Yes, Keenan Allen back in LA. So what is old is new again. You've got Keenan Allen back in the Chargers and Amari Cooper going back to the Raiders. That's one we didn't exactly touch on. It is AFC West noteworthy. Amari Cooper, after the very bitter divorce from the Raiders the first time around, is now back with a completely new regime in a new city, but still, what is old is new again in the AFC West.
I actually had root beer vape in Vegas. It was awful.
It's terrible.
Do we see us sweeping the Chiefs?
No, I mean, but it gets better every single year. I think it gets better every single year. But I will say it's one of those where it's, until we actually see it, is probably when we'll actually confidently say that the Broncos can, sweep the Chiefs. I will just say, like, for the season, like, I know we made our record predictions, but really at the end of the day, like, just get to 10 wins. Like, get to 10 wins, because you're going to be right at that point where you're going to be in the playoffs, assumedly at that point. If you can have 10 wins, everything else after that is, I don't
know. I think I'd be disappointed if we didn't at least get 11, right? Like, I want one more than last year.
I'm not saying that they get like 11, 12, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying that, like, in order for them to get to the playoffs, just get to 10, just get into the playoffs. And then depending on what they do as far as their confidence and everything, we know it usually favors the hottest team in the playoffs.
Is
So,
10 going to do it, though? 10 wins?
It
Yeah,
it,
I
it,
think
it
so.
always
So?
has. It always has.
It should. I mean, there are exceptions to where it won't, but I don't think the AFC is as strong as people are saying it is. Like, even with Trey Hendrickson getting signed, Cincinnati is no better than they were last year. They are not good
Right.
on the defensive side of the ball. And quite frankly, outside of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and to an extent Chase Brown, they're not very good on the offensive side of the ball either. So, yeah, man, it's like I don't see them. The Steelers, I think they might make a little bit more noise than people are expecting, but they're still going to be a first-round playoff exit, as always. Hell, they might even be our opponent in the playoffs, quite frankly. I could totally see a scenario where that happens. You've got your usual suspects, obviously, like Kansas City and Baltimore and Buffalo. Of course, they're going to be problems. But outside of that, man, it's like, who's really going to make a lot of noise in the AFC? With the Chargers, I'll believe it when I see it, man. Every single year, it's the same shit with the Chargers. Everyone thinks they're going to be the next big thing, and then they shit the bed in the playoffs. Until that doesn't happen, I'm going to assume that's what's going to happen. So I think 10 wins could definitely get you there. And my thing is, I don't care how you get to the playoffs. It's what you do when you get there. And I think for the Broncos to show that they're on track in their growth, they need to win a playoff game. That is the big goal for me this year, is win a playoff game. If you can do that, then I think you're well on track. If they make the playoffs and get blown out in the wild card round again, I'd say that would be a disappointing thing for me.
Yeah. And kind of going back to the Kansas City sweep, you have to initially think no because of how good the Chiefs have been. But when you look at last year, right, the only reason they won that first game was by a desperation field goal block. Otherwise, we win that game, right? And like the Chiefs got better, I would say. I mean, we still have to see how the offensive line plays, but I would say that in general they got better. But the Broncos, I'm trying to think of another word, but I'm not, so I'm just going to make one up. Got more better. So there, if we got more better and they only got better, then we're going to be better.
We got better.
How's that? We got better.
I mean, I will say the Chiefs are not going away. This whole notion that the Chiefs are going to take a step back and they're going to have Super Bowl hangover, they're not going to make the playoffs, that's just ridiculous. The fact of the matter is the Chiefs haven't not made the AFC Championship game since Patrick Mahomes has been their starter. The question has always been who's going to face the Chiefs at Arrowhead in the AFC Championship game. So it's really like, okay, we've got to assume that's going to happen until it doesn't happen. So as far as Denver sweeping them, no, I don't think so. I don't know if Denver's going to go into Arrowhead on Christmas night and win, but at home, absolutely. Yeah. Denver's shown that they can beat the Chiefs, the starting Chiefs. They proved that in 2023. They beat the Super Bowl champion Chiefs at home. They kicked their ass. So we know that they can beat them. I'm not counting that last game of the regular season last year. That was the JV squad. Those weren't the Chiefs. But still, man, I think Denver has proven that they can compete with Kansas City. And if you just get a couple of breaks to go your way, you can beat Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is going to be Travis Kelce, right? Like, I think we need to see how the Chiefs play without Travis Kelce. I think he's got 1, maybe 2 more years left in him. I'm kind of thinking this is his last one.
It's seeming like this is going to be it.
And so, you know, Travis Kelce has been Patrick Mahomes' dump off and security blanket for years. So I don't think we can talk about the Chiefs losing a step until we see what they do without Travis Kelce.
And Sky Moore.
All important Sky Moore.
Yeah.
And did we see that Tyquan Thornton, the former Patriots draft bust, made it? And he's now a Kansas City Chief on the 53. So
I do want to do a shout out to Max Brosmer, the former UNH quarterback.
Knew you were going to throw that in there.
Made the Minnesota Vikings 53. He transferred to University of Minnesota for last season, and but it's good to see another UNHer, and Dylan Laube actually made the Raiders again. So
I did.
We're representing.
I did just want to let Sam Hartman know that the Broncos might need a third quarterback on the practice squad. So hang in there, buddy. Hang in there, buddy.
You would be really mad if
he
he's
was a
even
terrible
on the practice
college
squad.
quarterback.
Yeah.
You're a terrible college quarterback.
Okay, Tyquan Thornton, I wouldn't say is the bust in the sense that he's a bad player. I'm going to say that he's a bust in the sense that he flopped out in New England, predominantly of the fault of New England. So in that sense, he was a bust because he busted out in New England, but I'm not going to say that he's a bad player because in all reality, he's probably going to burn Kansas, or he's probably going to burn Denver for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in the 2 games.
Wouldn't that be ripe?
Bring back Ben DiNucci sitting there drinking beers in an airport.
Hey, man, I wouldn't hate that. I would totally endorse bringing the DiNucci back.
The DiNucci.
The DiNucci.
Just in case he wasn't paying attention, Mr. Charger Bill, Bo Nix did make the 53-man roster, and Jarrett Stidham will not be starting. Just wanted to throw that out there. Just
couldn't go a show without roasting Bill.
Just in case you get a little excited in the pants there, Bill. It's not going to be Jarrett Stidham. Just throwing that out there.
I don't think we have to worry about that happening, by the way, Mike.
I'll just send him a picture of Sam Hartman. He'll be fine. Anything else we need to cover? I think we got it all.
I think so.
No.
All right. Well,
active chat, too. Thank you, guys.
It is an active chat. Love the active chat. We thank everybody for joining us in the show. It's always great when you guys join us. Make sure you head over to the MHRT Network on YouTube and subscribe and like. Just hit that thumbs up. Quick and easy and free. It absolutely pushes us in the system.
Do the thing, Cam.
The algorithm. Yeah, do the thumbs up.
Oh, the fireworks.
Boom. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, that's
good. That works.
That's good enough. That's good enough. But yeah, we want to thank everybody for joining us in the show. We got shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the neighborhood's coming back with the Broncos games on Sundays. So make sure you check that out. I think the first one is going to be hosted by Bill and Spence because me and Glenn and Gage and Cam are all going to the Broncos game for the Titans and the Broncos. That's going to be exciting. And make sure you head on over to Broncos Syndicate, hosted by Gage Madrid. Growing like wildfire over there on that channel. So make sure you subscribe over there, like that channel over there. We would greatly appreciate it. We will see you guys later. We love the Broncos. We love Broncos country. Peace out, everybody.
Fast lane when I pass in the street. Bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flame out.